I'm Chris Bowles and I'm the courses manager for Oasis-Talk. It means that I'm responsible for planning, organising and developing all of the courses that we run for the people that use our service. So, we have a whole range of different courses covering all sorts of different topics, like, for example, stress management, depression management, anxiety management. We do mindfulness courses, relaxation skills courses, assertiveness, and a number of other things as well. So we're doing probably about 120 courses a year, spread throughout the city in different locations. And I'm responsible for all of that and for recruiting and training the people that actually deliver those courses. And I also deliver quite a few myself as well. Right, I would describe it, I suppose, in the first instance as a sort of a safe place to come to where you could discuss your concerns with somebody who wasn't going to judge you, who was going to listen, and who was not going to solve your problems for you, but who was going to actually point you in the direction of things which might help you to make changes, to move on and to improve your well-being. Right, you would be referred to us by another organisation, which we'll probably talk about a little bit further on, but what would happen is if you're coming for a one-to-one therapy, then you would be contacted by probably the person that you would be going to see. That person would arrange an appointment with you. And in the first appointment, then that person would probably want to kind of get to know you, gather some additional sort of information about you, and also very much to focus on what you want to get from that time. What are you hoping for from those sessions? In what way are you looking for help? And depending on what it is, we offer counselling, which could be fairly open-ended. So somebody could come with a number of different sort of things that are bothering them. It could be relationship problems or bereavement or, sort of things that are happening in their lives or in their past history that they need to talk about. We also offer kind of particular therapies for people who've been through a trauma, who've had something really seriously sort of difficult and traumatic happen to them. And we also do what we call CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, and that's a little bit more structured. So people who have CBT, they'll be encouraged. They work very closely with the person that they see to look at some goals that they want to achieve, and then they'll be kind of helped to work through. They use lots of different methods to kind of help that person work towards those goals, including things like setting them activities and tasks to go away and do in between times and then come back. So it's kind of very practically based. You can access the services themselves. So what they would have to do in the first instance is contact Bristol Wellbeing Therapies, because they're the sort of the gateway into the service. The service comes under something called IAPT, Improving Access to Psychological Therapy. So the idea is it makes the services much more accessible to people from all walks of life and from all parts of the city. And indeed, it's a national sort of initiative anyway. So what they would do in the first instance is contact Bristol Wellbeing Therapies. Bristol Wellbeing Therapies will then do an assessment with that person, so probably sort of either over the phone or in person. Or they might be referred by a health professional, so their doctor could refer them or another health professional. So once they've had that initial assessment, what then happens is they discuss with Bristol Wellbeing Therapies what's the best way forward for that particular person. Because obviously it's really important to make sure that they get the right help at the right time and the right amount of help too. So that service, the assessment service, will then refer them on to people like us. So we're one of a number of providers. We're actually one of the larger providers, and we will then contact them from there. So the other thing to mention is, in addition to the one-to-one services, they may also have be offered group work as well. So courses like the ones I mentioned earlier on can be an alternative to working individually. Our main office, which for understandable reasons is quite popular, is in the centre of Bristol, so we're just off Park Street, so we're really kind of very centrally located. But we do also work out of a number of different GP surgeries. There's so many that I can't remember all of them, but for example, we work out of places like Bedminster, Shirehampton. I think we work probably from sort of Knowle West and the sort of the south side of the city. So we are kind of locally based, Gloucester Road, sort of Horfield direction, those sorts of locations. So people can actually either come into our office to see us, or they might, if there's a location that's closer to them, they might get referred to somewhere that's a little bit closer to home. I would say, well, the two words would be kind of person focus, so very much on the focus on the individual, so really looking at what does that particular person need, you know, what are the things that would help them. We regard people as individuals, and compassionate. You know, we don't judge people. We get all sorts of people, as I say, in lots of different situations from different walks of life. They all come in the door and they all get that kind of listening ear and hopefully the support that they need. I think because of what I just said in terms of, you know, we treat each person individually. So, you know, it's not like a sort of a one-size-fits-all approach at all. You know, we will spend quite a lot of time, as I mentioned, getting to know people, deciding what's best for them. So sort of really looking at what's brought them to the service, looking at what they want to get from it, looking at their own personal circumstances. So, you know, that could also mean sort of making sure that we make whatever adaptations are necessary for that person. So, for example, if they're disabled or English isn't their first language, then we would, you know, would obviously put whatever measures were necessary in there for them. And also professionalism as well. I mean, all of the people that work for our service are very highly qualified. We're actively encouraged to keep on developing over time as well. So, you know, there's lots of emphasis on professional development and kind of further training and things. So, you know, you can guarantee that you will see somebody who's had good, solid training in the particular thing that you're kind of going to get involved in. Well, I think in terms of my role, it's the variety of it because, you know, as I said earlier, I'm planning and organising things. I'm kind of managing a team of people who provide those services. But also, it's a very creative environment because we're quite a young service, really, in terms of the overall kind of sort of structure of things. And so we're continually growing and developing. So that means there's lots of opportunity. You know, ideas will be listened to if they're going to make things better for the person that's using the service.